Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to a man in the woods chopping trees for an hour, talking about whatever. So between videos, my wife pointed out I didn't actually talk about why we were getting into Warhammer, apart from the fact that it was cheap. And for me, it's mostly just the idle curiosity initially of like, hey, people love this game, let's see if it's good. Because for me, I like new experiences. The older you get, the more things kind of become repetitive. You know, you've seen it before. How many burgers can you have before all burgers stop being... How many burgers can you have before burgers stop being special? Stuff like that. You know, every once in a while you find a transcendent burger, but after a certain point they just kind of fall into two categories, which is good or bad, and there's not really a whole lot of nuance beyond that. And so... And like, maybe I'm not going to the really fancy burger places that are really gonna knock my boots off, but generally, you know, I'm not surprised or excited by it as much as I used to when I was a kid. I was a kid, and you know, when my mom would make BLTs, I was super excited because BLTs are delicious. And now I don't make BLTs because we had a BLT mishap. We'd like to make BLTs, and then we'd just leave the grease in the pan, and, you know, finish our BLTs, and then take a bunch of extra bread and make BLT French toast, which was just French toast done up in the bacon grease. It was a good way of getting rid of the bacon grease, and also it tasted really good, and it was a little crispier because, well, bacon grease is tasty. And so, we gotta get home. I'm probably gonna pass out, in fact. Oh well. Could be worse. But one day, the splashback on the bacon grease splashed my wife's wrist and burnt her real bad, so we don't eat bacon anymore. I also just haven't been eating meat since COVID, since during lockdown, a lot of the meat we would buy was like rancid because they weren't doing a very good job of like, we didn't pass out. A shocker. Ooh, I can actually buy the next level of axe. I was hoping to go for throwing distance, but next level of axe is just better. At least at the moment, because I think the next level is the last level, right? Yeah, I want to say it was 25k is the end. But yeah, we'd buy like chicken and it would come back rancid. And so we just kind of gave up on buying meat during lockdown times. And we just haven't bought meat since because, And also meat replacements generally are, I don't want to say safer necessarily, but they're consistent. You don't have to worry about them being rancid unless the store selling them is like really messing up, because they keep better and longer. Anyway, neither here nor there. It's just one of those where I stopped eating BLTs. But I got excited as a kid because like I loved BLTs and they were delicious and I wanted more of them. And then, you know, the older you get, the more BLTs you have, eventually you just know the flavor profile of what a BLT tastes like. And it's less about like being excited about this kind of novel experience and more about comparing it to something that you've already experienced before and being like, yeah, this matches up. And there are some places where I will go back consistently being like, yeah, that's real good. Ooh, I forgot how much I like this song. At some point, yeah, I can look into sharing my music playlist. There's just no easy way for me to do it. I really need to start that podcast is the real answer. Because then I can kind of go over my favorite music and then the music I listen to as just kind of a video or something. What was I gonna say? New experiences, right. So for me, one of the main reasons why I like collecting board games and playing video games is just because it gives me a lot of cool, fun things to do. To get into, sink my teeth into, learn, master, and experience not only for the first time, but like, you know, really delve into in a variety of ways. A lot of video games do that too, but I will admit on a functional level, like first-person shooters don't really excite me in the same way that they used to, because they kind of end up being samey. You know, I look forward to playing through, say, the Halo games again someday, when I feel like actually playing a Microsoft product again. Don't really like Microsoft right now for a lot of reasons. But there we go. What was I gonna say? Like I look forward to playing Halo again someday at some point for reasons. But it is one of those where it's mostly for the novelty of the story and the setting and the world rather than because I actually enjoy the gameplay. Halo gameplay is good, but I like the first one the best. The second one was good because it added the dual wielding and a couple other mechanics, but like the first one just felt right. And then, yeah, I just have like zero excitement for any of the future ones. Like Reach added some fun mechanics and stuff, but they just felt like fluff and unnecessary additions that just slowed the game down and made it less enticing to me as a player. The like weird swappable abilities were fun in theory, odd in practice, great in multiplayer, I'm sure. And I think that's maybe part of the disconnect for me, is that the further Halo went on, the more it was about the competitive scene, because that's what kept players playing. But for me as a story-based player, didn't need that, did not care, did not affect my decision to play the game in the slightest. And so, I don't know, just this kind of carries true to most first-person shooters, that it needs something special about it to make it good. Oddly enough, I've found a bunch of like old retro shooters tend to be a little bit more, cater more towards kind of my general preferences. Let's see. Or the ones that do weird stuff. There's that Souls-like one that came out, I think it came out last year and then it had a DLC recently, Blood West. I think it was Blood West. And like, I thought that game was incredible because it was a first-person shooter pseudo Souls-like and it felt really good. And I can't say the same of like a lot of other first-person shooters because, yeah, they just come off as a bit samey after a while. I missed a mushroom. Ugh. As somebody was pointing out, the reasons why I wasn't collecting the mushrooms previously was likely because it ruined the ambiance of the cave, and they're absolutely 100% correct that take all the mushrooms out of a cave and it just looks sad. So I wasn't doing it previously. Now that I know that the drone is actually going to benefit from it, then I will care. Okay, so still have not explained the other reason why I wanted to get into Warhammer. Was part of the thing that also turned me away from Magic the Gathering, apart from the fact that it wasn't a commitment to a singular world, was the fact that I'm actually really tired of randomized rewards, like randomized anything, really. Even to some lesser degree on procedural generation, I'm getting a little tired of it. I think part of it is because it feels a little shallow, but from a TCG or a gacha system, I don't actually really like rolling the dice. I want to be able to get what I want, even if I have to work for it. And even if a game makes me work for it, sometimes I'll just be like, nah, and go do something else instead. It's part of the reason why I did a couple episodes on Genshin Impact and said, oh, this is one of those games, as people were like dumping large quantities of money. And also, well, I mean, yeah, it was not uncommon to read about somebody spending like $10,000 just to get like X or Y character. And that sounds absolutely mental to me. You know, I'll spend X amount to pick up boosters for Lorcana or Magic the Gathering, just so I can have some interesting things to play with, but after a certain point it started to feel kind of like a hamster on a wheel, where it was just like, you know, new set comes out, buy the boosters, do some more things, but you get like, I'm gonna say maybe 10% of the cards are really good, 20% of the cards are decent, maybe an overall 50% could be used in a deck, and then the remaining 50% are Garbo commons that don't matter. And on a personal level, that's frustrating, because I don't really want to buy something where a significant portion of the purchase is considered worthless, or at least, you know, just takes up space in my house. Now I recognize that cards are small, but even then I was still buying boxes to put them in, because I didn't quite want to sell them back to the store. Especially because I knew I wasn't going to earn much by doing so. And so there wasn't that much, like, I don't know. it became this kind of weird problem where, yeah, I was getting more than I wanted, but I was paying a premium just to have to work around, you know, RNG either by buying more cards or buying singletons of the ones that I actually want. And like, I don't know, after a certain point that started wearing on me a little bit, where I wasn't excited at opening it anymore. It was more of kind of a frustration of like, oh, I know this card is potentially in the set. I didn't get it. And if I want to buy it, it's going to be $50 and that sucks. I'm going to pass out on my doorstep. I've done that in Stardew Valley, I think like inches from the bed. And it was frustrating. Let's just go for the throw distance. Let's just save up for it. But so, one of the other reasons why, beyond just idle curiosity, we ended up getting into Warhammer is when you buy a Warhammer pack, you know exactly what's in it. There's no RNG there. And so, on a expensive hobby that I want to get into collecting for level, I want a hobby where I am collecting what I want rather than just stuff. And then some of what I want. You know, that's... maybe it's just the older I get, or the busier I become, or the more stuff I have in my house, the more I want that stuff to actually be the stuff that I like, as opposed to just stuff. Pretty sure this is the route to, like, one of the portals. Which, I mean, don't hate the idea of chopping my way to a portal at this point. The only problem is, I think it's pretty far out, like 150 something, so this might take some doing to get to it. Well, do we want to push ahead? Find ourselves a portal? Sure. Because I'd like the throwing distance, but I can also just pop through the portal to and from a couple of times. It's not that silly of an idea. The one problem is, to some degree, I guess rather than having RNG determine, yeah, rather than having RNG determine what I'm getting from boosters, instead I am actually having sales determine what I'm getting. So, and this is true of board games too, that like, if I wanted to, I could go out and buy a lot of these games that I actually want and I'm looking for, but at a higher price, you know, at full retail value, or more if it's like a game that has been scalped to heck. I actually am not sure if I'm going to reach the portal on this one. I'm going to get through this, because this is either... Yeah, this ain't it. I don't know what passing out in the woods with an armful of logs does. There's a small chance that I lose them, and that would annoy me. What was I gonna say? So yeah, what's determining what sets I pick up now is entirely based on sales, or if there's like big packs that I can pick up. So we're looking at like one set with a faction that we do not want, but it has one of the factions that we do want, and it's like, well, do we pick both of them up because it's a good deal? And the answer is, I guess in that case, no, probably not. But most of the factions I've ended up with have been because sales. But I mean, it's also easy if you're collecting Stormcast, the like lightning paladins. Feels like Games Workshop is just jamming them into every single product, and so it's kind of easy to collect large quantities of them without really even trying. And because they produce too much of those, it's kind of easy for me to get more at very low value. But I think just in general, I've been pushed away from a lot of modern games, I think because of this aversion to RNG. That I know from experience, and I know from like years of playing games and whatnot, that like RNG will never favor me. It always favors the developers, the people who own the game, who made the game or whatever, that they will always stack things in such a way that it's difficult to get your hands on the really good stuff. Yeah, so I'm chopping my way, I think not towards a portal. I think that's actually towards one of the machines. Or no, that's that one. I don't know where the portal is on this side. Oh, I think it's there. We've chopped to about that spot. So what I should do is actually just cut left this time around. Because yeah, I might as well see if I can get my hands on some of the drone parts at this point. We can chop to them. It's not really going to be that hard. I think it is going to cost me a bunch of mushrooms to get it, but it'll be worth it. Let's see. Odd part is, I want to say it's like somewhere in this mess. Oh, I haven't actually asked the gnome for the drone radar yet. I could probably get by without it. Kind of. I know that sounds ridiculous considering how long I spent looking for the drone the last time. But I really do think it's going to be doable this time around. Unless I'm already lost, it's a possibility. Yeah, let's go ask for the drone radar and check the map too. On the plus side, there's going to be a lot of stuff for my drone to pick up. I guess the other thing I should maybe focus on is just getting enough, yeah, let's get enough money so I can actually have 1,000, or not 1,000, 100 meter throw range. Because, boy, being able to, toss this distance is going to be super nice from a, money-making perspective. Because I need 8.2, and that's a little expensive. Okay, I'll just chop my way back for the time being. Deforestation. Oh wait, you ain't seen nothing yet. There's gonna be nothing left when I'm done. Yeah, the one problem is these aren't worth nearly as much money. But I think we'll have enough. We might pass out. I probably shouldn't have drank that extra energy drink, but hey. You ain't lived until you've drank a bunch of energy drinks, chopped 1,000 trees, and then passed out in the woods. Actually, that's a pretty niche experience. I think in the grand total of humanity living right now, there's probably only a handful of people who have actually done that. Well, hopefully they're living a good life. Maybe. I'm like blacking out. And because I can barely see anything, I'm just spinning in circles looking for dark shapes so I can hit it with an axe. That's very cursed behavior. Okay, so once again, I need to take a left. So let's just stick to the path. Okay, behind the portal, hug the left, and then take a right after the first rock, and that's where the drone part is. And then we can work on our way towards the drone tunnel, and then also its new myriad mushrooms. Was it not there? So I think it is in this cops. I just stopped early because I wasn't certain. Well, it's okay. Nice part is I can throw at this range. Finally. I think that might be it. Still should probably get the drone radar, but I'm not actually sure how good it is. How much it helps. Okay, if it's not here, we go around this rock to the left and we'll find it. Okay. Well, going reasonably well so far. There it is. Yeah. Turned one too early, but really doesn't matter at this point. Like, we have to chop down all of these trees no matter what, and the drone's gonna do cleanup for me once we've got it. Not very fast, but it'll do it. I was kind of talking about RNG, and I don't know. I think it's one of those where it's like, I think no shade on somebody who does enjoy collecting Magic the Gathering cards or gacha games, as long as you're very much committed to it within reason, just like Warhammer or any other thing. That as long as these things are somewhat handled in a reasonable and like not life-ruining level, none of it matters. I went to college once again with a lot of guys, nerds, who loved video games, go figure. And weirdly enough, almost nobody in the group I was in played World of Warcraft. But I knew a couple of people that got hooked on a completely different MMORPG and that wrecked them for a while. And, oh, what was it? Minecraft, that's what it was. So Minecraft came out in what, 2008, 2009, something like that? Like it's not a new game. That game actually has been around for a while at this point. It's older than some kids playing it, which is weird to say, but hey, there's really no reason not to just pass out in the woods, is there? Wasting the time walking home is not actually worth it. Oh well. I still kind of like racing home. There's something fun about it, regardless. Let's see. But, so Minecraft came out in like 2008, 2009, but it wasn't really popular until I'd say about 2010, 2011, I think. That's when it went from creative mode and actually got like a survival mode, which is what drew a bunch of people in. And so the problem with like where I went to in college is that I went to, like, a lot of the guys that I was going to college with didn't really have too much of a, I'm gonna say, a personal foundation. That many of them specifically didn't have that many social skills going to college. Maybe didn't have much of a social support system that they could rely on. Many of them didn't really have a whole lot of emotional experience. And few of them had any experience with like addictive, addictive substances, but also just addiction in general. And so, like, you know, it's not uncommon for somebody to go to college and end up with a nasty drinking habit once they've been kind of unrestrained. I can't tell you how many different guys I interacted with that really could not behave themselves around alcohol. And so I drank pretty responsibly. I'd only drink at a friend's house. And, you know, in retrospect, maybe this wasn't the most responsible because I don't know how sober the driver did not drink. That's what it was. That it would be three of us would go over to a friend's house to play Halo. And, the driver, she didn't drink at all. So she was just there to have fun. And the person whose house we would go to She would make the drinks. She was a functional alcoholic. And the other guy we will go with was a functional alcoholic, which is really bad to say for a couple of 20-somethings. But I would only drink a little bit, you know, enough to be tipsy, enough to think it was really funny to throw a bunch of grenades in an elevator anytime we walked into an elevator, much to anybody's consternation. But it was funny at the time. But that was pretty much all the drinking I would do. On my own, you know, I'd maybe have like a glass of mead here and there. And that's it, just because mead's expensive and it's like one of the only alcohols I like drinking. I could get into mixed drinks, but that's expensive. It's even more expensive. So I just don't bother now, just at all. And it's fine. It generally works for me to not drink alcohol and stuff. But for a lot of these people, yeah, alcohol was their like primary social lubrication. But they would take it way, way, way too far. And were very unhealthy with their habits in regards to like alcohol consumption and whatnot. The same thing could be said about like video games too, that a lot of the guys would get kind of hooked on video games. I think it was mostly fine because most of us would play single player games that actually have like linear stories. And with those, it's kind of difficult to get like truly addicted because once you've rolled credits on a game, are you going to play it again? Maybe, but not immediate. It's actually like this game is kind of an anomalous thing for me. I almost never even go back for alternate endings. And here I am, you know, doing a full second playthrough immediately. I do have an external, you know, motivation for doing so, but I really should just load up on energy drinks and keep shopping until I pass out. All right, time for really unhealthy habits. Here I am talking about addiction and stuff. If you haven't gone to college yet, by the way, this is going to sound weird, but see if your parents will train you to drink responsibly. That for me, I'd never really had access to alcohol when I was a kid, but my parents never actually like trained me on this kind of thing. For me, I was just lucky that I was just around other people who were drunker than I am. And also I'm weirdly a lightweight that I probably could drink a lot and be fine, but I get tipsy really fast. And so it was one of those where I only needed one drink to be good for hours. And more than that was just excessive and unnecessary. And so as part of that, it was kind of easy for me to just be like, who cares? I don't need to drink a ton to enjoy myself here. Whereas some other people would just drink until they're blacked out and puking, and that's not great. And so, yeah, if you've got parents who are kind of open to this sort of thing, it's not a terrible idea to like have some experience with alcohol before you go to college. Just, you know, kind of what your limits are, how to be safe, how to recognize that like one drink is too many. Because it is one of those where like there is a bit of a lag time. That, you know, you don't just immediately get drunk after downing a glass. It can take 10, 15, 20 minutes before it really starts to hit you, depending on like how your body works and how fast it gets into your bloodstream. And this is very much like kind of odd and niche topics, but I don't know. We're a man in the woods chopping trees. We might as well talk about some of this stuff. But the same can kind of be said for like addictive behaviors in regards to like too much or too little video games, or spending habits, especially. Like it feels, or I mean, it certainly felt like for me, growing up, that the adults in my life did a very poor job of preparing me for a modern digital era and lifestyle, that I pretty much had to feel that out entirely on my own. I don't know if this is still true, that, you know, maybe modern education actually prepares you better, but like probably not. But we had a bunch of, I mean, even in college, we had a bunch of professors who were functionally dinosaurs trying to like force us to stick to their workflows and methodologies, or like sharing tips and tricks that weren't really valid. So like the big one was, what was it? It was just like take your work and post it online, and you know, oops, now a bunch of companies have stolen that. Weren't prepared for that kind of thing, but that's kind of but stuff like, well, okay, let's go with catfishing. I'd never heard about catfishing until after I graduated college. I got really lucky that nobody ever really tried to do it to me. I think a couple people did, but I'm just kind of forthright, but also suspicious that I was just like, you're weirding me out. I'm leaving. Whenever somebody would like try and talk to me that I'd never interacted with before. I think it was because I was so used to interacting with people in like public lobbies. On like, I guess the one worry is if I pass out with an armful of logs, that could be a problem. Well, if I do that, hopefully they just fall on the ground. I guess we'll find out. Actually, I might be able to get back. Not home, but within throwing range. Never mind, we're going further away. Luckily, none of this matters at the moment. Oh, I can toss from right here. Perfect. Got it. Okay. So we've been taking that route. Didn't even need any energy drinks for that one. So this one, we're gonna go this direction. There we go. Yeah, what other things? I mean, even like basic stuff like cybersecurity would have been actually really helpful to know. Once again, I got lucky because I played a ton of online games. It was very easy for me to get a lot of this experience secondhand. Somewhat because I was a little shit. Like I did a very small amount of internet chaos. There was some guy that got me into RuneScape when I was in middle school. Did not actually like him that much in the end because so I was like awkward new kid, loved video games, and met this guy and he also liked video games. So it's like, okay, cool, we have a connection point. Oh, you play RuneScape. You know, I always wanted to get into MMOs, but the only ones I've ever played have been like awkward free to play ones, or the one time I bought EverQuest on sale, played the free trial, and realized it was a subscription game, at which point my parents said no. And so, you know, I always had a passing interest in MMORPGs, but just didn't have much of a access to them. So RuneScape was kind of nice and easy because it didn't require a beefy computer, a good connection, or really much for social technology. You didn't have to get like on mic with people. And so it was like a very easy MMORPG for a middle schooler to get into. And so this guy had, you know, started me off, showed me the ropes, and then proceeded to exploit me for cheap labor. So effectively, he had me go out and mine, I think it was iron ore for him in large quantities, iron and coal, so he could make steel. So he could resell it at higher prices, but he was paying me half the market rate. And I found this out after, you know, maybe only a couple days of playing. Didn't take long. I mean, it's pretty easy to be like, wait, why are these people buying iron for considerably more that I'm selling it for? That ain't right. And this guy's response had been to be like, serves you right, you should have known better. And it's like, excuse me, I thought we were friends and I thought you wanted me to like be a buddy, but clearly you just wanted a clearly you just wanted a slave or something. And so yeah, did not like him, did not maintain that friendship, did not stick with him at all. By the way, like if you ever have friends that are doing that to you, ditch them fast. It is not worth having friends who exploit you for labor and then, you know, try to make you feel bad about it as opposed to, you know, recognizing that they messed up. But yeah, so screw that guy. We were not friends. and I made it slightly a personal mission to, I'm not going to say make his life miserable in this game, but kinda. The thing was, like, I knew his username, I knew a lot about him, and so I actually was able to get his password on multiple occasions to cause havoc. So usually what I would do is like give his character a like hairdo, like a different hairdo, or change his appearance, or I don't think I ever went as far as getting rid of his stuff. I think that was the one thing I did not do. Messed up. Yes, this was the same guy that I called. So let's see, do we want to do some carrying capacity? No, let's just go for stamina. Okay, and we want to go the one behind the house. So yeah, I made it some of my mission to mess with this guy. So hacked him a couple times, just small stuff. I think we might have, I don't know if we ever changed his name, but we definitely like changed his character appearance or did some goofy things or put him in weird spots. Like, I think we had specifically hacked him within a day of him becoming a member, like a paid member for RuneScape, which unlocks like, I'm going to say 3/4 of the game for you. And since I had already been a paid member for a little while and had explored, I knew weird places that you could put somebody that they'd, you know, would have some trouble getting out of. And so, oh, this is the log pile where I passed out. Okay, good. Good to know that you don't lose anything. But so the one time, I think this is the point where I said like, okay, enough is enough. I think I've exacted vengeance. Was I also knew when he would go PKing because despite the fact that he was a little like an absolute toad person for, you know, trying to exploit potential friends for cheap money in game and then, you know, laughing at them for it. Because I was not the only person he did this to. Apparently, like, he was responsible for getting a considerable portion of people into RuneScape in my middle school, and then did the exact same thing to all of them. He never learned his lesson. And so, like, he had a lot of people that did not like him at all for this reason. But so, despite this, he still wanted the social connection. Like, he still wanted to be friends with people, even if, like, he was a complete jerk to them. And so, we would do, if you've ever played World of Warcraft, RuneScape, there's something called the Wilds, which is like a giant open PvP zone in the north of the map where, you know, just everybody is flagged for PvP and you can kill each other. And there's some rare and valuable things up there, like dragons that you can farm for a lot of money. And so, me and my friends were openly discussing going up to this, like, this green dragon farming ground and also to PK some people, and we were going to run around fighting and having a good time in cheaper gear. And this guy who had screwed every single one of us over wanted to come along. So we said, yeah. Here's the thing. This is back when dial-up was still, like, a fairly common method of connecting to the internet. And if you're not old enough to know dial-up or have any experience with it, one of the quirks of dial-up is that it's using your phone line, which, okay, I recognize is also kind of outdated at this point. Okay, so thing is, most houses only had one phone line. You didn't need multiple phone lines going into a house. That's awkward and kind of insane how many people are calling you on a given daily basis. You know, unless you have a very busy family, there's almost no reason for you to have those multiple phone lines going simultaneously. So most households only had one. And that included connecting to the internet. That if you were on dial-up, that was... Wow, I've done functionally nothing today. Oh well. At least we know we don't lose any logs, so I guess I'm just gonna chop trees until I pass out. It's a time-saving measure. So if you're connected to the internet via dial-up, via the phone, and there's only one phone line, nobody could call. If you picked up the phone, it would just make this like horrible dial tone that I think literally was just the data transferring over the phone line, or at least kind of like a audio expression of that. I'm just gonna get those two. I know I need like throwing distance, but it's not that important at the moment. And so like for my household, up until the point where my brother and I were getting into RuneScape, dial-up was fine. We weren't using the internet that much. No, I was though, because I would actually play a lot of like StarCraft custom maps online. I guess my family just didn't have anybody to talk to, so it wasn't too bad. Because I never remember this being a problem. And I think in a lot of cases, if you called somebody, you would just get a busy tone if they were on the internet. But for whatever reason, with this guy's house, the parents had insisted on making it so that if somebody called, it would disconnect the dial-up. The phone line would take precedence. And so if somebody called them while they were, say, playing RuneScape, they'd get disconnected from the internet. So we called the guy while PKing with him. And his character immediately freezes up, because at this point I'm on broadband, so I could easily just call him. And didn't do it, like, didn't actually let it go all the way to the point where somebody picks up the phone. Just let it ring for a bit. His character freezes. We kill him, we take his stuff, and then we all leave. And to this day, I have no idea if he knew that it was us or not. And yeah, it was kind of an extreme BM, but it was kind of one of those where, like, this is not the only mediocre thing this guy had done. He had been extremely, like, mean and dismissive to tons of people. And, like, he was one of those people that was not a big guy. He was actually extremely small, very scrawny, had an annoying voice, didn't have a good personality. So he didn't have a whole lot of friends, but he never really, like, recognized this. And so he just continuously kind of take this out on people as like I can get away with this because nobody's going to stop me. And so I think this is like the first time when anybody was like really actively trying to kind of put him down for it. Because he had been bullied like in person, but online, once he was in a position of power, he just flip right back around and do the exact same thing. Okay, I guess I should probably head inwards a little bit. I don't entirely know where I am in this process. But he was just one of those classic people that was bullied, had kind of a bad time in school, but the moment he was given any ounce of a similar quantity of power, would instantly do the exact same thing to anybody else. So like, he was apparently really bad to underclassmen, even though he was generally smaller than them, but like, put him online, he was going to be miserable towards them too. And like, I feel bad for the guy because it was just like, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't be too hard on him. But on the flip side, like, it's difficult to want to be nice to somebody that, given every opportunity, is going to be mean to you or anybody else around you. And so I don't know, I just had no good interactions with the guy long term. But that was the last time I think we really messed with him, because I think pretty soon after that he quit RuneScape because I think he wasn't having fun anymore. His reputation had gotten bad enough in school that he couldn't get like more cheap labor to come play RuneScape with him. And so he gave that up. And I don't actually know what he switched over to, because he pretty much stopped being even remotely close to my own social circles. Let's see. We'll grab this. We're going to pass out shortly, but I might as well use the last of my strength to something. No, this is the ferry. I'll have to look at where the drone is. It's going to take a little bit to excavate around where it is, but it's not a problem. But apparently years later, my younger brother met his sister at a party, and apparently she had stories to tell about this guy at home too, so it seemed like it was one of those where he consistently was just, this is who he was, and there was no escaping that. There's some other people like that in, wait, oddly enough. So after this guy quit RuneScape, he actually gave his account to somebody else. And for whatever reason, the somebody else that he gave the account to was I'm not going to say a carbon copy of his personality, but he tried to do the exact kind of cheap labor scam stuff as well. But he actively was like trying to trick people to get ahead, to like make more money and stuff. And I recognize that, like, you know, for some people that's just the game, that's what you do. Do I just explode? I'm assuming all of the logs just come crashing down when I pass out every night. Oh, the weird dark mushroom logs are actually a thing. Huh. Yeah, it's somewhere along this rock on the right, I think. We just have to keep going and we'll find the part that I'm looking for. Probably. But, so yeah, this other guy he gave the account to was, I think, my brother's age. And the two of them were kind of sort of friends, but once this guy had access to an online account and some degree of power, it went to his head and he started misbehaving and kind of ostracized himself from the friend group, to the point where he was just awkwardly playing RuneScape alone for a while and occasionally trying to talk to people who didn't want to talk to him anymore because they recognized he was just going to be the same personality as the first guy that owned the account. But years later, he'd gone to college and we met him again, and he had, I'm not going to say invited himself over for a party, but we were having a LAN party. I think at this point, I had already graduated college, come back, had started my channel, and I was, I think, just doing some basic work. You know, just channel management in my office or something, or maybe I was playing something else. But he had come over to hang out with my brother and everybody else, and actually went out of his way to apologize to me for being like kind of selfish jerk in high school. And I thought that was actually like extremely impressive. That very rarely does anybody come back and say like, hey, yeah, I was actually a problem back then and I'm super sorry about that. I recognize that, like, I also probably have some people I should do that to, but maybe not. I don't know. The problem is, like, the people like that are the people I don't think I'd ever want to apologize to. Like the first guy who is, you know, scamming people for cheap labor in RuneScape. Like, some part of that was just like, I don't know. Was I mean to him? Yeah. Did he deserve it? Also probably, yeah. Okay, I thought the drone was going to be in here. It might be in and around the elder trees. But maybe not. Let's see. I can probably take one more of these. I know I should be, like, collecting these logs. And I will. But like, we're a good 50 meters away from being able to toss these back. I can do that another time. I'm just trying to find this drone. At least we found two out of 3 of the parts. That's not nothing. Now we just need to find the last one. Well, that's all my stamina. Let's just explode into a pile of 70 logs again. Where's the button to press to pass out faster? Hold my breath for a bit. Okay, so we go into the first rock, go around, and it's at the end of the path. Okay. I think I gave up just a little bit early. That's fine. Yeah, 2 videos to get to the drone as opposed to 4. I think. It's a much better track record than my first playthrough, even if my efficiency has bottomed out at the moment. It's okay. I'm having a good time and making very good progress all the same. Like, once all these logs get cleaned up, oh, we are going to be motoring. Okay. Grab all of these. So yeah, I think we just keep this rock to our right. Go to the end, and as soon as it turns too much, then we turn around and chop down all the trees. Yeah, so it's at the end of this copse. Somewhere like right in the heart of this. Or no. We haven't gotten to the point where it's actually turned, I think. If I actually chopped the other side of this. You know that meme where it's the man mining and there's like a thin bit of rock wall between him and diamonds? And then he's walking away sadly because he's given up, and then there's somebody else that is digging much more like aggressively towards those diamonds with no sign of stopping. That's me. That's been me. Okay, legitimately, how did I miss this drone? It should be around here. Unless I'm mistaken about where I am, but I don't think I am. Oh, I've looped around too far. Hood is actually back here. Maybe it's in here somewhere? Oh, is that it? It's really difficult to tell. Because some of them may also just be the mushrooms. I could also just be in the wrong zone again. That did happen the last time. But I think I'm in the right spot. I guess I should go get the drone radar is the real answer. This, kind of dark. Watch it just be like under all of these logs that I've actually already found it, cleared out the area around it, and just didn't matter. Well, I'll just check the map again. Worst comes to worst, I approach from one of the other directions I do know. I just don't want to do that too much. There's all my stamina. I don't want to do that too much because that's going to take even more effort. Well, where are we at the process? Unless I'm going too far. Because, yeah, it's on the other side of the drone tunnel. Short bridge is behind the portal. Long bridge and the last thing is... Yeah, it should be. It should be here. Oh. Let's go get that drone radar. I think I'd remember some of the, some of this. Oh, do I have to talk to him the first time? Okay, now he'll walk over. Okay, so that should make this a lot easier. So hopefully this will actually let me know where the stuff I'm missing is. There we go. Yeah, I might as well keep collecting whatever mushrooms I can. Other nice part is we actually know where I think most of the Elderwood logs are, or at least enough that it should get me to 1,000. I don't know if this has more than 1,000 designed into it. I certainly would hope so. How do do I miss these random mushrooms? Yeah, so I was in the right area. Yeah, there it is. Couple of trees past. Okay. So now what am I gonna do? I don't know. I've got 400 mushrooms. When that happen? I could get the lantern, but well, yeah, I think I'm still gonna go for the drone first. Get that maxed out. Mostly because I'm kind of enjoying passing out in the woods repeatedly. I know it makes no sense for that to be an amusing thing, but I know, man, something about it. Okay. Yeah, so now that we've got the drum part, all I have to do is just go back, buy it off, and then hopefully it'll pick up some or many of these logs for me so I don't have to go back for it. It'll be nice. Yeah, oddly enough, despite, like, apart from this one guy, I actually don't think I've ever had a whole lot of truly negative interactions with people in social games. Like, it was the one guy trying to exploit me. Some people that have just been pointlessly mean. But it really wasn't until YouTube that I actually started to have bad, you know, interactions with other people. And almost always it was just like small interpersonal drama. I think in the last video I was talking about like creators trying to stake out turf and stuff and how, like, you know, that wasn't kosher. But apart from some small things like that, it actually, like, I don't generally have a whole lot of, like, bad interactions with people. I wonder what happens if you pass out on the bridge with an armful of logs. Do the logs go in the water, or does it have the right kind of limitations to prevent that from happening? Invisible walls and stuff. Okay, so we got a drone. 200. Oof. So what does it actually look like? Because... And it is already gone. Damn. Alright, whatever. I guess it looks like this thing. That was kind of close. Okay, so let's do probably one in everything. Let's see. Let's do capacity and speed for now. Well, I'm never going to see it again, but that's okay. And I'll have to check how much I need to start to buy the next couple throwing range upgrades. Because being able to throw long distances is probably the most valuable thing. Yeah, I don't need to be chopping all these trees, but one of my goals, well, I mean, yeah, one of my goals is to chop down every single tree. I guess the thing I should consider within this is the elder trees. If I chop them down, there is actually a final reward from the gnomes that I do want. Let's see, I think it was at the back of this clearing. Kind of wish you could keep buying more drones and stuff. Yeah, I'll say it again, I do feel like this game's upper limits were a little low. That I wish there was more crazy things that you could do. I saw some people talking about how, like, the fairies... completing the fairy quest is kind of underwhelming. I think I agree. And like, I recognize that this is a small little like funsy project that is now probably going to get way too much attention and other things. And so like, it's kind of unfair to expect high end or extreme depth out of this game because, you know, frankly, this was not supposed to have enough attention to warrant that level of thing. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like if you're making an incremental game at this point, you should keep in mind that YouTubers can and will descend upon it with fervor, because this very much is like primo YouTube bait at this point, which I actually like. There used to be a thing called YouTube bait just in general, which were like, I'm gonna say games like Happy Wheels or like dumb rage games, I Am Toast and whatnot, Goat Simulator. And I think those have been phased out for incremental games as the new and enduring YouTube bait. And I am very happy about that, actually. Well, shall we go pass out on a bridge? If I can find it. I think I've got a general idea of where it is, if I can make it there in time. Wish the energy drink actually just gave me... I think I would have been more likely or more interested in the energy drinks if it let me run faster. Okay, so I'm just gonna be right here. I figured the drone probably can go out of bounds and pick up logs that might fall into the river. And also, I literally do not need all of these logs. Like, you can max yourself out on maybe a quarter of the trees chopped in the game. And so, if I lose a couple, so be it, right? There we go. Does feel like the drone is not picking up too much for me, but that's okay. So we have 21 mushrooms, which is not nearly enough to buy another booster. And that's okay too. I just want to go take a look at the bridge, and then I think I'll call it here. Oh, yep, there it is, just hoovering up logs. You can do better than this. Okay, so I don't know if any of my logs fell into the river. I cannot tell. But a number of them ended up on the railing, which is very funny. Oh, no, some of them did fall into the river. I don't know if there's an easy way for me to, like, spot them. Okay, they're just there. Huh, looks like there might actually be a bush down there. Alright, well, that's funny. Hopefully my drone can grab those. Hopefully it doesn't stop me from getting any of the endgame goals. We'll see. I think it doesn't. Because, yeah, it's not based on collecting all the logs, it's just based on chopping down every tree. Cool. Alright, well, for now, I'm going to leave us here. It's still going to be probably 2 more episodes before we're able to chop every tree. But I'm committed. We're doing it. Just gonna take a bit.